shapes, lines, angles, right? So analytical geometry, it is this geometry that we do on what? Cartesian plane. So Cartesian plane we have what? Points on a Cartesian plane, right? With coordinates, right? Coordinates is given by what?
X and Y.
X and Y. I won't explain a lot of but I'll just get brief into it, right? Just to remind each other. I know some of you understand them more than me, right? Yes. Oh, we're all learning. We're all learning here. So, I said you do it on what? Cartesian plane, right? So, Cartesian plane we have points, right? Which are represented by X and Y. So, here it will be what? Negative X and Y. Here it is negative X, negative Y. And here it is X and negative Y. Points that are like that, right?
Yeah.
Around that Cartesian plane. So, mostly we're having lines that are joining points here. Lines that are joining, lines that are joining points, right? So, if we're having lines that are joining points, it means that we're dealing with what? With gradients. So just let's just remind each other about the previous word thing, right? So we have gradient. How do you calculate our gradient?
Change in y.
Change in y over changing x. So this is change in y over changing x, which is the same as y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, right? And what else did you use to find in grade?
M equals to tan for gradient.
Also, we can find the gradient by saying m is equals to tan theta, right? If you are having the angle of inclination here, right? So this angle, which is the one that you put here, right? So it means that our m is equals to tan theta, right? This is finding the gradient. And also we used to find the midpoint. So which midpoint it is? x2 plus x1 divided by 2 and y2 plus y1 divided by 2. And we have our point of the midpoint, right? What else do you use to find in the previous grades? The distance, right? So the distance is equals to what?
Square root of equals to
Square root of
x
minus
x1
squared
plus y2 minus y1 squared. And then we find out what? What distance. What else do you use to find? Equation of a straight line, which y is equal to mx plus c, or we can represent it by y is equal to mx1 minus x, sorry, this is x minus x1, right? Y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1, right? This is the equation of a straight line. What else do you use to find? The angles of inclination, we're using what? Tan theta is equal to what? The gradient of this line, right? So we know that if this line is moving from left to right, we are having a positive gradient. If it is moving from right to left, we are having the what? Negative gradient. If our line is like this, right? So let me just explain this about angles, right? So as I said, if you are having a positive number here, it is our gradient is positive. So we say tan theta is equals to gradient. So it means that our theta is equals to and gradient to try to find this angle here, right? But if it is negative, what do we do? If maybe our line is like this and we're trying to find this angle here,
we don't put the negative here.
We don't put the negative here, we just find it and then we subtract it from 180. After finding the theta, we say 180 minus the theta that we found, and you find this angle here, right? Something like that, right? So also like in that previous grades, you used to get some things like this. Maybe you have line here, and something like this here. They say maybe calculate this angle here, right? Which you cannot use the gradient, right? But you can use what we know from previous grades, that you can find maybe this angle, or this angle, and then you see how to work around those angles to find the unknown angle, right? These are all about the previous grades. What else did you know about previous grades, analytical geometry? Parallel lines. So if you are having parallel lines, the gradient is the same, right? Gradient 1 is equal to gradient 2, right? And perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines, they give what? The gradient of this multiplied the gradient of this should give us -1 if they are perpendicular, right? And what is collinear?
Or the points in your coordinate line. The gradient between the points of the line. Of the line.
The what?
The gradient in between the points on the line.
The gradients between collinears are the same.
What is the coordinate?
Oh, you mean like if we're having
The
points that are on
points.
straight line.
Yeah.
The gradient is the same, right? So now you are going in the 12 now. You do the 12 well. Right?
Yeah.
So let me just give you hints of this before we get into this, right? Don't forget that the radius of the second of the same second is what? The same. No matter the direction we are taking, right? So it means that our radius here is equal to our radius there is equal to our radius there, right? Our radius are the same. Don't forget that, right? And again from the 10 work, from the 11 work, we can steal some of the things from Euclidean geometry, right? Don't forget that in Euclidean geometry, we learned what? We learned that if we are having a line and a line, this angle will always be 90 degrees. We use them in analytical geometry here, right? And again, don't forget that we heard that a tangent to a second is perpendicular to the what? To the radius or to the what? Diameter, right? We also use that here, right? So these are some of the things that you must always put at the back of your mind, right? So let's get to our equation of a what? Of a circle, right? So our equation of a circle is given by what? Is given by what? By x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared, right? R squared, right? So this is when our circle is, the center of our circle is at the what? At the origin, right? So what is the origin, guys? What is the origin?
We forgot.
0 and 0.
Is this one 0.00, right? This is the origin, right? Right? So we are saying that if our circle is like this, and this is our center here, so our equation will be what? X squared plus y squared is equal to r squared. And r is what? Is the radius, right? So this is the radius. Right? So x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared, right? So this is the starting point, right? But now we are not interested in that. We're interested at the circles that are not starting at the what? At the origin, right? That are not starting at the what?
Origin.
Origin, right? Right? So what do we know? Or what will we have? So for example, let's say we're having this, and we're having our circle like this, and our origin is here. This point is -2 and 3, right? And let's say our radius is 5 units, like this, right? So what will our equation be? So this is our equation that we use, right? We use x, right?
Yeah.
Minus x1 or x center, right? Plus, right?
Squared.
Y minus y center, or this are being squared, right? Should give us to the radius squared, right? So what is the meaning of this? The meaning of this is, it means that if our center is somewhere else that is not the origin, it means that this values of the origin are being put on this, right? Rule. Are we together? Yes, right? So let's try to find this, right? So it means that this x and this one, this value comes here, it will be the opposite of what is here, right? Because if we say minus and minus 2 to give us what? Positive 2. So this will be positive 2 squared plus y, and if this positive comes here on negative, it will be what? Negative. Negative 3 squared is equal to what is our radius? 5 squared, right? So this would be what? X plus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared is equal to 25. So this is our equation of that second. Right? So here comes the question, the big question that is regarding this. Are you able to find the equation of the second if you are given the origins and the radius? Are you able to? Should you do another example?
What do you mean? What are we able
to
to?
find the equation when you given the equation?
We're not given those things.
We're not given those things.
We can try.
You can try, right? Yeah. So let's just do maybe another example and see how we can try.
Yeah.
Right?
We can try.
So I'm trying to race with the time, right? So let's say we're having this second here. Right? And this point we're given is, this is the center of the circle, right? With point 4 and 3, right? And our radius, we're given that it is 4 units, right? Our radius is 4 units. So again, we can come and say what? And say x minus x of the center squared, right? Plus y minus y of the center should be equal to the radius squared. So sometimes in other books, this they don't show it as xb or xa, they show it as what? As a and b. They can show this as a and this one as b. Should be equal to our r squared. Right?
Yeah.
So what is the equation of this? So it means that our equation will be what? X minus 4, right? Squared plus y minus 3 squared equals to 4 squared. Which this is x minus 4 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals to 16. So that is the equation of our center, our second, right? Are you able to find this? You can be able to do this, right? If you are given, yes. Those are other situations. I think we'll come to those type of things. When I'm solving for why, right? Right?
Next question.
Yeah, it is very good question, right? So now let's try to deal with some other things that is about finding the equation only, right? Finding the equation of our what? Our second, right? So sometimes they can give you this in another form, right? To try to find the equation of the second, right? So for example, they can give us this. They can give us something like this. 3x squared plus 6x plus 3y squared minus 18y plus 12 is equal to 0. And they say, please find us the equation of this, right? This second, right? You don't have to be scared. So this is just the expanded form of the equation, right? So it means that they've dealt with this squared and then they squared everything and then they brought everything this side and then it was equated to 0, right? Maybe I say, give us the center of this second, right? So we are looking for the center point of this second. what do? We cry? No. What do?
That curve, it moves that side.
Okay, 12 moves that side and
when it moves, we go back to the squares, which means isn't these are therefore 2 brackets, the 3x squared plus 6x, the one is for the 2 brackets, the one is squared. So
okay. How can we find the center of this? Okay, so here's what you do. You complete the squares, right? We did the completion of the squares in grade 11, right? So how do we deal with this? Lamek, where are you? How do we deal with this? It is very, very simple. We are going to group everything nicely, right? So this is our 3x squared plus 6x plus 3y squared minus 18y is equals to negative 12. And then what's next? We are going to divide everything by 3 because these are like this, right? So divide throughout by 3. So if we divide throughout by 3, this will give us x squared plus 2x plus y squared minus
6y.
Minus 6, right? Minus 6y equals to negative 4. Right? What is the next thing? The next thing we are completing the squares on both x and y. Right? How did you complete the squares in our grade 11? First thing, we made this coefficient of x squared being 1. And if our coefficient is 1, we look for the coefficient of x, right? So it means that we are completing this and lastly complete that, right? So let's first complete this, right? So completing this squares, it means that first thing we are going to check the what? The coefficient of x, right? So our coefficient of x there it is 2. So we take our coefficient of x and multiply it by half and then we square it, right? What is it giving us? It is giving us 1 squared, right? After doing that, we add that both sides of the equation, right? What you do on the left hand side, you must do on the what? Right hand side, right? So it means that this was going to give us x squared plus 2x, right? Plus 1 squared, right? So we must also edit that side, right? So it means that side we are having plus 1 squared, right? What's the next thing? The next thing we are looking for the what? For the coefficient of y. What is our coefficient of y? Negative 6. It is negative 6. So we are going to take it as negative 6 multiplied by half and then we square it, right? So this will give us negative 3 squared. So we are adding it both sides, right? So this is going to be plus, we are dealing with this now. So this is y squared minus 6y plus negative 3 squared. So it means that also this side must add it as negative 3 squared. Did you see what we did there? We added this on both sides of our equation. Can you see that?
yeah.
Can you see that? This we are coming to complete here. Can you see that? Right? So this is supposed to be equals to negative 4 plus 1 squared plus negative 3 squared. Can you see that? Jackie, are you here? So what is going to be our answer? So this, when it is like this, we can complete the squares by just putting x plus 1 squared. So this thing represents everything here. Right? Right?
Yeah.
And then we come and say plus, and this whole thing also can be represented by y minus 3 squared. So this whole thing can be replaced by this. Right?
Yeah.
So this should be equals to negative 4 plus 1. And what is negative 3 squared?
Plus 9.
It will give us plus 9. Right? Right? So it will mean that our x plus 1 squared plus our y minus 3 squared should be equals to what?
6.
Is it 6?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
6. So this is our equation of our circle in a standard form. So what is our center now? it will mean that our center is equal to -1 and +3. So this is our center of our circle.
And our radius is 6.
Our radius is not 6. This is the radius being
Squared.
So it will mean that our radius is what? It's equal to the square root of 6.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Is it making sense? Is it making sense? Where are you lost? Yes.
That's why you have to blue.
Yeah.
Look at this, and I'm talking about the
Yes.
Okay, fine. But you would have what you would have put it and
Yes.
Purposes of one into bracket squared plus -3 into bracket squared.
Can you go over?
Yeah.
Okay, this is completing
Yeah.
the squares, right?
Can
So
we
when we
go?
are completing the squares, we take the coefficient of x. So if we take the coefficient, what is the coefficient of x? It is 2, right? So completing the squares, it means that we are taking this 2 and we are multiplying it by half, and then we square everything, right? So this is 2 multiplied by half. Yes.
If you can offer, where are you getting half?
It is on
The
completing the
rule.
squares. We did that in the level.
Completing the rule. Where is the rule?
Yes. So multiplied by half and then we square it. So 2 multiplied by half gives us 1 and then we square it. And are you still here? So what are we going to get here? 1, right? So this 1 we are going to add it on both sides of the equation. So we came and added it here and you also added it there. Because what you do on the left hand side, you must do on the what? Right hand side. And then we came and we add what? -3.
No,
Because it
start
is
with
coming from
-6.
the coefficient of
Start with
x. It was -6, right?
Yeah, you apply-
So we came and then we multiplied by half and then we got -3. So we add it on both sides of the equation. We added it here and then we added it there. Did you see that? And what are we going to have? We are going to have, so this whole thing can be replaced by this only. Does it make sense by saying this, the whole thing is replaced by this?
It makes sense.
Is it making sense? Or you want to see how we are meaning
Let
this?
me show you.
Like, apa namanya completing the squares.
Yes.
Because we do like x and y.
Yes.
Can you talk to that one, please? You will come here.
So we're doing it on both things, right? Right? What's next?
And then we're gonna add that.
Yes, everything you do on the left hand side, you must do it on the right hand side.
So
No,
maybe
I'm
I'll
lost.
Because
Okay, I want to complete go add like
yes, the thing that this coefficient of x, we're adding it on both sides of the equation. Our equation is having our right side and our left side, right? Divided by this equal side, right? So if we're adding something on the left side, we're adding it on the right side. So we did 1, we added 1 here. We also added 1 there. We added -3 squared here. We are going to also add it that side. Why? Because our equation, if you see the equation, right? Equation is more like a scale. Right? This scale must be balanced, right? This scale must be balanced. So if the scale is balanced, what does it mean? It means that we must not favor only one side. We must favor both sides, right? So it means that if I'm adding 2 kgs here, I must also add 2 kgs for this thing to remain balanced. If I'm adding 5 kg here, I must also add 5 kg for this scale to remain balanced. So this equal sign is more like this thing here, right? So it means that again, if I'm adding something here, I must also add it on that, so that the equation will remain balanced. We must not change anything to the equation, it must remain balanced. This one, this one, this one,
x squared plus 3x plus y squared minus
6y,
eh?
minus 6y.
80.
No, 80 it was a mistake. We divided by 3 throughout. So here from this, we divided throughout by 3. Right?
Yeah.
Because it is a common
example.
factor.
Put another example.
So let me do another example so that you can see what is happening. And then I'll let you do some other examples, right? So let me do this example that is say 5x squared is equals to 10y minus 5y squared plus 45 is equals to what?
7.
No.
Oh.
This equal sign was there, right?
Yeah, it's fine.
Right? So we're having something like this. So let's just take what is taken both this side and take it this side, right? Right? So this is going to be what? To be 5x squared, right?
Yes.
Plus 5y squared, right? Minus 10y is equals to 45. Now we are completing the squares. But before that, we can see the common. Guys, can you stop writing? How can you write and listen at the same time?
Okay, so
listen and then you write after, right?
Yeah.
Listen and then you write after.
Yeah?
Listen and then you write after.
I need this one. I want to attempt to.
You try. There are many problems. When you get home, you'll be tired of problems.
I'm fine.
You try at home. Because you'll be asking again, because this is different from that one.
Yeah.
Right? So let's see. First thing first, we're dividing by what? By the common factor, which is 5. So this will give us x squared plus y squared minus 2y is equals to 9. Right? What is our common factor? It was 5, right?
Yeah.
And now, do we have a coefficient of x? I mean, like, do you have anything that is having x?
No.
So we don't complete its squares. We are going to complete the squares of
Y.
this, right? So this will be x squared plus y squared. And what is the coefficient of y? Negative 2. So we take negative 2 multiplied by half and then we square it. So here we want to add negative 1 squared. So we're going to add it on both sides of the equation, right? So this is negative 2y plus negative 1 squared equals to 9 plus negative 1 squared. Right? And this, it doesn't have a friend, so it will be x squared. Right? Or we can say x minus 0 squared is still the same thing. Right? When we add 0 to something, what's still zeros, right? So this is the same as squared, right? And then when we get to this whole thing can be replaced by what? It can be replaced by y minus 1 squared. Right? So it means that we just take this value and we take the value that is inside here. And then you do what? You square them, right? Guys, can you pay attention? So this will be equals to what? To 10, yeah. So this is 10 together, right? So it means that what is the center of our second? So it means that our center is what? 0 and 1. And what is our radius? Our radius is equal to the square root of 10. Does it make sense? Is it making a lot of sense? Okay. So please try to do this one. Yes. So let's see what are we having? We're having this equation like this. So it means that first thing first, we're going to put it in a what? In a way that you can solve it, right? So this is 2x squared, right? Plus 2y squared minus 1 is equals to 10, right? And then throughout you can see that these coefficients are 2, so we can divide throughout by what? What's calling me? So this is going to be what? If we divide throughout by 2, this is x squared plus y squared minus half y equals to 5. X doesn't have coefficient, right? So I'm going to take the coefficient of y, which is negative half, and then you multiply by half, and then we square it. So this will give us negative 1 over 4 squared, and then we are going to edit it on both sides, right? So this is going to be x squared plus y squared minus half y plus negative 1 over 4
to the power 2. To the power 2. To the power 2
Square.
equally.
is equals to what?
5
Can you
plus
answer it?
5 plus
Plus
open.
negative 1 over 4 squared, right? So, what are we having?
There we are
Hey.
x.
So we said
Open the
this whole thing, we can replace it by one
Let's
thing,
first
right?
correct for the x.
So right now we start with this one of x, right?
Yeah.
So this is the same as x minus 0 squared, right? Plus y minus 1 over 4 squared.
Yeah.
B equals to what?
To 81.
81.
81.
Or adding together to give us
81 over 16.
over 16, right?
Yes, and
So it will mean that our center of the second will be equals to what? 0 and 1 over 4, that is positive, right?
Yeah.
What about our radius?
Square root of
Square root of 81 over 16, which is what? 9 over 4. Is it making sense? Okay. So the last center, you are given a circle. Hey, Gerald, you are making this. Circle with the center what? 3 and negative 5, right? And you are given the radius a square root of 3. And then they said, find the equation of this, right? Find the equation of this. So how do we treat this? We know that the radius is equal to square root of 3, right?
Yes.
So radius is equal to root of 3. But our radius squared is equal to what? 3, right?
Yeah.
And here, what is our center? It is this point. So we just come and say what? Our x minus x center squared plus our y minus y center squared should be equal to our r squared. So this will be what? This will be x minus 3 squared plus y plus 5 squared equals to 3. Simple as that. Right? Or we can have something like this. Now we are given, this is the diameter. A diameter of the what? Of the circle, right? So our diameter, they said it is, CD is our diameter, which is having our CS 0 and negative 3. And we're having our D as 2 and 9. So how do we deal with this one? This one is a bit tricky, right? What do you know about the diameter? You know that a diameter is the line from the circumference to the other circumference passing through the what? Center. And the diameter is 2 what? 2 multiplied by the what? The radius. So, no, you can stop writing. You're right. Right? Yes. You're right, guys. So what are we trying to say? It means that our diameter is something like this. So this is our C, this is our D. So to find the radius, what do we do? We find the midpoint of the what?
Of the line.
Of the line, right? So this is the midpoint. The center will be the midpoint of the diameter, right? So we said, how do we find the midpoint?
We're changing x.
Midpoint.
x2 plus x1 over 2.
Yes. So it means that our midpoint, which will be our what? Our center, right? Will be equals to what? x2 plus x1 divided by 2 and y2 plus y1 divided by 2. This will give us what? 0 plus 2 divided by 2 and negative 3 plus 9 divided by 2. So this will give us what? 1 and 3. So this is our center, right? So this is our center. So now, how can we find our equation of this? We can now say x minus what? X center squared plus y minus y center squared is equal to r squared. So let's put our points that we're having. So this is what? X minus 1 squared plus y minus 3 squared should be equal to r squared. So we don't have the radius, right?
Yeah.
So we find it. How? There are two ways that you can use to find out what? Our radius. First thing first, you can find the what? The distance between this center and any point. Then you find our radius. We're finding the distance, right? Or we can do this. We are having the points that are on the what? On this, right? So we can substitute any point that is at the what? At the circumference, right? So D is at the circumference, C is at the circumference. So we can pick any point, right?
Yes.
Which is having 2 and 9. So we come here and say, what is our x? Our x is 2. So it's 2 minus 1 squared plus, what is our y? 9 minus 3 squared is equals to r squared. So this is what? This is 1 squared plus 6 squared is equals to r squared. What is 1 squared? Is 1?
36.
36. So it will be 37, right? So our r squared is equals to 37. So it means that our radius is equals to 37. So it means that the equation now of this would be what? Would be x minus 1 squared plus y
minus
3 squared is equals to what?
37. It's down.
Is it making sense?
Yeah. Not much difficult, but
It is not very difficult, right?
yeah, this one here.
So here, even the randa should say could need just see and see.
Yes, we'll find this. No, not this one. Because this is the center. Yeah, you can use this one as well. Oh yeah, you can check this one as well. You would have gotten the same answer. Right?
Isn't if you want to see it right, you see that you will get the same
So here we're having this one. They just gave us that there's the circle passing through, right? It is passing through point what? -6 and 1, right? And it is having the circumference. What is the circumference? Is the distance around the circle. So they said the circumference is 12 pi. So this is our circumference. It's equal to 12 pi, right? And the center is on the y-axis. They said the center is on y-axis, right? What do we know about the y-axis? We know that the y-axis, x is equal to what? 0, right? So on y-axis, it means that our x is equal to 0. So already we know that our center of this circle is 0 and another point, right? So this is the information that we're having, right? But what is this? The circumference is equal to what? 12 pi. And we know that our circumference is equal to 2 pi r, right? That is the formula of calculate by 2. Who is that? Okay. So this is the circumference equals to 2 pi r. This is how we find the circumference, right?
Yeah.
So the circumference is where it is 12 pi. Because to 2 pi r. We can divide throughout by 2 pi, right? It means that our radius is equals to 6. Right? That is our radius. It is equals to 6. Right? So what is the equation of the circle? The equation is x minus x1, x center, sorry, squared plus y minus y center squared is equals to
R squared.
r squared, right? But you are told that this is passing through the what? The origin, right? So this is just x minus 0 squared plus y minus y squared should be equals to 6 is the radius, but squared to give us what? 36, right? So if it is giving us 36, then it means that this is our x squared plus y minus yc squared is equals to 36, right? But you don't know this, we are trying to find this. So we can substitute these points that we are having, that the circle is passing through. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So our x is what?
-6.
So -6 squared plus y is what? 1 minus yc squared is equals to 36, right? So this will give us what? 36 plus 1 minus yc squared is equals to 36, right? So it will mean what? This will be 1 minus 2yc minus y plus y squared, right? Is equals to 0, and then we can solve for that. So it means that our y squared minus 2y plus 1 is equals to 0, right? So this is y, 1, 1 minus minus. So it means that our y is equals to 1. So it means that our equation now would be what? Would be x squared plus y minus 1 squared is equals to
56.
So it means that our center is what? Is 0 and 1.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And our
That one is six.
6.
That is equal to 6.
6.